What's up, YouTube? I apologize about the sound in advance. I'm just driving to the coast right now. I don't have any professional fancy equipment or anything, so I apologize. Hopefully you can hear me. It's like the title of the video. I figured I'd provide maybe some insights, some pro tips into 68 whiskey training. I just went through it fairly recently. I graduated September 1st of 2019. So I'm fresh off the boat from that. So I feel like I have some good insight into that world. And this is going to be less like structured tips and more just kind of a conversation. Like, I just like to keep it real, and just kind of give you some real world tips. Not that make sure you pack your bags. That shit's easy. You can look that up. There's other YouTubers and shit. I'll just get into it. Tip number one, when it comes to AIT 68 Whiskey School, just know that a lot of your experience is really going to depend on what company you get put into. I was in Bravo company, but our experience was, quite a bit different than Delta company or Foxtrot or, so it varies within the companies. Each company kind of has their own guidelines and, they have their own cadre and, their own drill sergeants. And so it really just varies. Bravo, when I went through, we were kind of having a change in command a little bit. So it was a little different the first half compared to the second half of AIT. But yeah, just know that your experience is going to be dependent on what company you get put in. So just know that. Tip 2, I guess, really remember that they give you, the drill sergeants there and stuff, they give you just enough rope and freedom there to hang yourself with. So what I mean by that is, you obviously, when you're coming straight from basic and you go into AIT, you're going to get there and you're going to be excited. You're still going to be in like the first phase. I think it's like black phase or phase 4. I can't really remember. I think it's phase 4, which sucks. You get marched to the chow hall and all that shit. It's basically just like basic training. But yeah, just remember they give you just enough rope to hang yourself with. What I mean by that is, they're going to start gradually giving you more and more freedoms throughout AIT. You're not going to get there and it's not going to be like college, that's kind of what I thought going into it, and that couldn't have been further from the truth. It was basically just like basic training plus the first phase. But yeah, just remember to still be on time to where you need to be in the right uniform, be ready to go, still have that basic training mentality. Don't get sloppy. Make sure your room is squared away, because they're going to check your rooms and stuff. They're going to do room inspections. So just remember that for phase 4. And when you're in phase 4, just remember that they can keep you from phasing up, which means you won't get freedoms in the future. So, for instance, they did, when we were all phase 4, I think in week 3 or something, they did a room inspection. And I had a can in my room. So when you go, the first phase, you're at EMT training. You'll figure all that out. But there's vending machines out there. And so I had a soda can that I didn't want to litter or something. Somehow I couldn't get rid of it in time. And so I crushed it up and I took it back to my room, not thinking about it. They did a room inspection, and anything like that in our company was contraband. So they went and checked all the rooms. Anyone who had any sort of contraband like that in their room, they took out to the CTA. You'll learn what the CTA is once you get there. It's like the drill pad. They took you out there, and they basically dephase you. You're going to hear that a lot, which is them either taking away your current phase or keeping you from phasing up. So when all my buddies got to be phase 5, I was stuck in phase 4 for the first 7 weeks. I was at AIT. Dude, it sucked. It felt like prison. I couldn't do anything. I had to get marched to the chow hall. On weekends, I couldn't leave. You have a formation every 3 hours if you're phase 4 on the weekend. You essentially have a formation that you have to be at, so you have no freedom. So yeah, it sucked the first 7 weeks. Some people went through there the entire 16 weeks in phase 4. I don't know how they stayed mentally sane, but just remember, I guess kind of leading into like tip 3. Sorry, I'm just kind of rambling, but I'm just trying to give you real advice, and it kind of comes off a little less structured. Tip 3, when you get to phase 5 and phase 5 plus, make sure you're still doing the right thing, but still having fun. Whiskey training is stressful. It was a lot more stressful than I thought it was, and it's mainly because you don't get very much sleep. At least that's how it was in our company. Like, dude, I have not been that sleep deprived my entire life. It made basic training look like a joke. Like, at least in basic, you pretty much knew you were going to get about 7 hours of sleep a night, give or take, unless you stayed up bullshitting or had fire guard, which you shouldn't really have had anyways, or you should have fire guard, but you shouldn't be up late bullshitting anyways in basic training. But yeah, just like, it's the sleep deprivation that got to me. I mean, I was really only getting 5 hours of sleep probably a night. But yeah, it starts to get to you. So just remember, like, when you get into phase 5 plus, that you are making sure you're still doing the right thing, but still having fun. Go do things on the weekends. I'm not going to give you any tips to be sneaky. There's ways around the rules at AIT, and I can't say I followed every rule to the T. I know some tips and tricks, but it's probably not appropriate, being that I'm still in the service to give you those. But just know there are going to be people there that are out doing the wrong thing. And the drill sergeants are going to freak you out and say, like, you're going to get caught. There's a chance you're going to get caught if you're out doing something stupid. Just the people who got caught doing dumb shit at AIT were the ones who went off and got stoned and drunk and to a point where they were inebriated and started throwing up when they got back, or they were late to formation at night, because even on the weekends, it's not like you just get to leave and you're gone for the weekend on a weekend pass. Like, no, you still have to be back at formation by, like, what was it on the weekends, like 2000, something like that. But yeah, just remember to, like, be squared away in that aspect. Also, another pro tip, in EMT phase, you're going to be really tired. You're in the classroom all day long. Everyone was falling asleep. Like, a little trick for that, if you're one of those people that knows you're going to fall asleep, just get up and walk around in class. Nothing says you have to sit there the entire 8 hours. I would get up and I would just pace around the classroom. You're going to be able to go to the PX across the street once you get out of phase 4. Go in there. My suggestion, I don't know if this is contraband or not, but I had them. Go buy yourself some caffeine pills. They're like little caffeine tablets. They're in the PX. Buy those and take one once you get to class or something, or take one whenever you're tired. I basically lived on caffeine at AIT. I was dosed up on a steady dose of probably no less than 300 milligrams in my system at all time. That's what I had to do to get through. That was just me personally, but a lot of people would fall asleep in class, and it's just a bad look. It's not very professional. So just stay engaged in the classroom, ask questions, walk around, all that stuff. You'll stay awake, most likely. Once you get to whiskey phase, just know, like, this sounds weird, but you're going to be on your knees a lot. Like, it sounds strange, I know, but you're going to be on your knees. That's one thing I really remember about it. Because you're going to be working on, like, mannequins and working on each other and learning how to do these life-saving tactics. or learning these life-saving skills, and that requires you to get down and get dirty and and actually do the thing. So just know, and for or for whiskey phase 2, I was more tired. It's more boring in some ways, but I was really tired during whiskey phase. If I felt like our quality of sleep went down to even less. It's more attention to detail. So just be ready for that. Me personally, everyone kind of approached AIT a little differently. For some people, it wasn't that bad. For me, like I said, I was in phase 4 for the first 7 weeks. So almost half the time I was at AIT, which sucks. That made the first 7 weeks miserable. And I feel like I'm a pretty squared away guy. And even I was getting kind of depressed. I was over it. I was starting to get snappy with people. I was starting to kind of not be myself a little bit until I finally phased up. And then it sucked but you get to leave on the weekends and stuff. So at least made it a little better. But yeah, just know that, 68 Whiskey School, it's not fun. It's a grind. It's just 16 weeks that you got to get through, and you don't have to do it again, so just power through it, do your best. I probably should talk about the testing before I get out of here. Okay, so just know that at any time, EMT phase, whiskey phase, etc., you can be recycled if you fail tests. I saw a lot of people go out that way. A lot of people. So really study. If you know you're someone who's a bad test taker, study for that shit. Because what happens is, if you fail these tests, they're just going to recycle you back to a different company. And you're going to have to go back. My best friend at AIT, he failed all skills. You'll learn what that is during EMT phase. It's basically like the final testing. But he failed, and he got recycled to the company back behind us. And he had to start over from fucking day one. He was there for an extra 6 or 7 weeks than what we were. And it was really depressing for him. So, just know that that can happen. And, yeah, take the testing seriously. Really, study for it when you get free time. Don't just brush it off and go dick around with your friends. Make sure to have fun with your friends, but just take that stuff seriously. I mean, you can get recycled, and it's no joke. So, yeah. Anyways, if you have any, questions, sorry, I'm just kind of rambling, but if you have any questions about 68 Whiskey School or maybe Bravo Company in particular, you're going to Bravo Company and you want to, ask some questions or something, just feel free to shoot me a comment or a message or whatever, and I'll respond to you. Have a good one, and good luck at 68 Whiskey School.